So if you guys want later, I'll give you both of these service manuals that I downloaded, but we got two different ice machines we're going to talk about. This first ice machine is made by Uline. And they call it an ice maker, but it's probably one of the ice makers that's not really an ice maker. Because basically it's a freezer that has an ice maker that you would have in your refrigerator at your home inside this unit. We'll take a look at them both. But I just want you to know, this here, this dotted line, this is the actual ice maker. Okay, we'll take a look at that. I'm not going to go through this ice maker itself. You guys all have on your thumb drives a manual, and I'll show you that before you leave today, that actually explains how that ice maker works. Now, but what we want to look at over here is this part, because this is the actual machine and refrigeration system. We got a power switch, a water valve, a control, and a condenser fan. The control is more like a thermostat. So all this machine is like you have a regular ice maker that makes, we call it crescent cubes. They're half moon shaped cubes. And this ice maker sits right on top of the evaporator. And it cycles just like you have in your home refrigerator. When it gets a certain temperature, it's usually about 18 degrees. There's a thermostat inside that ice maker. It's right there. They call it a limit switch there. And that thermostat, when it closes, initiates the ice maker to drop the ice. It has a bucket in there, just like your fridge. It has an arm that goes up, drops the ice. When the bucket's full, the arm doesn't go all the way down, and the ice maker stops. More along the lines, you're either going to have a bad ice maker on this unit, or we may have a refrigeration problem. This thing looks just like a small office refrigerator, but it's a freezer to keep it as freezing cold. And they take this ice maker and just set it right on top of the evaporator. I don't have a picture of it here, but we'll go look at that in there. So I'm not really going to go in a lot of detail on this one. I will point out some things to you, but this is just an ice maker with a freezer, and we'll point those components out and how to test them later. You guys got any questions on this one before we go look at the other one? No? Okay, so let's go look at the other unit. This one is called a Flaker. This one is made, forgot the name brand. Let's get to the beginning of it. So many damn ice makers. This is, let me get to the front page. I apologize. Good thing for editing, I can take this part out of the video. They don't even have the, okay. Isomatic, that's what it is. So this is called Isomatic's Pearl Ice. Well, we call it Pearl Ice, but what the people in the industry call it is a flaker. So what type of ice do we have?
A cube.
We have, I'm not going to get on videotape, but we have like the Whirlpool style ice maker that makes these little cubes. And what this does is it makes one big huge slab, and I have a video of it already on the channel. And it makes one big slab and it falls down onto a wire cutter grid. And it's just like a heater. And the cutter grid cuts one way and it cuts the other way. Then you have what I just showed you on the other ice maker, which makes the crescent cubes. And then we got the Thermador or the Scotsman. And it sprays water up into an upside down mold, and it makes, we call it a bullet shape, where it's curved on the top, but the bottom is flat, and those ice cubes fall out. Now, a flaker is make like what they call shaved ice. You know, have you ever gone to one of those trucks that sell lemonade, and they pack it with ice, and they pour lemon on it, you know? And it's like a snow cone.
Snow cone ice.
So this ice is called flake ice, but it looks like snow cone. So let me get back to the image I had and show you the parts of it, because this one's really unique. And now they have these also in commercial type ice machines. I'm not going to go through all the little buttons on there, but let's look at this picture right here. So the way this works, and I'll point them all out to you, is we have the refrigeration system, a condenser, compressor, liquid line, your capillary tube, just like a refrigerator, and that capillary tube runs over to here where your evaporator is, where this orange insulation is. If you see these bigger like loops here on the outside, that's the actual evaporator where Freon's flowing around a cylinder. Okay, so imagine this being that cylinder, and around the outside of it is the evaporator. Now it's made of pure stainless steel. Inside of it is like a drill bit, or we call an auger, and it's constantly spinning around. Now water comes in through a pipe here and fills the bottom of this evaporator here, and when that water hits the walls of the unit, it immediately freezes, because we run this just like a regular refrigerator freezer, 15 degrees below zero on the evaporator. So as soon as that water hits the ice, this scrapes the ice off the edges and pushes it up and out the top. And we're going to go take a look at that in a few. So let's get a little bit more closer look at the evaporator. Oh, I didn't point out these other parts. So this is the suction line, just a refrigeration system. This is a drive motor, and this is like a transmission or a gearbox. So this motor is connected to a gearbox which is spinning the blade. Why do you think we have a gearbox on there?
To shift different speed.
We don't shift. It's a gearbox, more like your rear axle and not your transmission.
Transmisión.
What?
Transmisión.
So it's a no transmission. It's un gearbox, like
gearbox.
the rear axle of a
yeah.
car. So, yes?
I think the purpose is to drive the auger.
It's to drive the auger, but if the motor was connected to the auger directly, when it goes to scrape the ice on the wall, the ice is going to stick pretty hard.
Give it
Okay?
power, more power.
So it'll jam up the auger if the motor was connected to the auger directly. But when a motor is connected to gears, it increases the torque or the strength, not speed, but just the power from the motor gets in the gears, and that torque scrapes the ice off the
Give
walls.
it more power.
Yes. Now I got a picture of what the auger looks like because we can't go inside of it there. But if we go up to here, here's a close-up of the unit. And I'll zoom out just a little bit here. So here you can see where water comes in. There is no water pump or water valve inside the system. Electrical. There's a mechanical float that controls the water, and the water comes in here, and as this auger spins around, it pushes the ice out. Just a close-up view. So let's take a look at, well, let's look at the controls real quick and point out the controls. On-off button. Glows green when the unit is switched on, so that's just telling you it's on. Glows red when there's no water supplied to the machine. So I told you it doesn't have a water valve, and we'll look at it here and then we'll go look at it on the machine. It has a float in it just like the toilet. Your toilet fills with water, it don't have electricity.
No.
So the float's in there,
Control.
water comes in, and when that float rises, the arm mechanically shuts off the water. And that's happening inside this machine. A lot of commercial ice machines have a float in them that control the water level. So the float controls the water level, but it has a sensor, these two metal prongs that are in the water, and when the water touches the two of them, it conducts a very, very small low voltage, and that tells the board, okay, we got enough water, okay, that we can produce ice. So it's not there to shut the water off, it's to sense if we got sufficient water so we can produce ice, okay? If not, we get an error that there's no water. Now this one here is when it's time to clean, it lights up. So green when there is water, and red when there's no water. I think it's off when there's water. The machine will not make ice when the light is on. It will restart and the light will go out when the water supply is restored. So in other words, it's not going to make ice if we don't get water inside that unit. Okay? So let's go to here. So here's the float assembly that we're going to look at. This is the float. That's the valve. Water's here. And when the float rises up above a certain level, it stops the water. Gravity flows that water into here. And if it gets too much water, it runs out the drain. Okay? And then this is just your gearbox assembly. I'm not going to go over that too many times. And we'll spend a little more time on the machine when we look at it. I'm just pointing the parts out to you. So just like most ice machines on this particular unit right here, this one here has a sensor to sense when the bin level's full. But that's not it. This one here has a sonar which sends an ultrasonic sound, and when it hits the ice and bounces back, the sonar knows when the bucket's filled. Okay? And I'm going to show you, somewhere in here is the test, and I did the test and it didn't make a difference. So I'll show you if the instructions are accurate or not, but it didn't make a difference. So let's go here to the actual pieces inside. Let's see here, no ice. Okay, this is the one I want you guys to take note of. No ice. The ice level sensor failed. This is that ultrasonic ice sensor that I was telling you about. With the power on and the ice making light on, check the connectors. If secure, jump the two middle wires. So what they want you to do is find the plug for that sensor. And this is a 4-pin plug, but only has 3 wires. Okay? But they want you to put a jumper on the middle two, just jump it out. And if the machine wasn't making ice, you put a jumper on those 2 pins, and if it starts making ice, what does that mean? Sensor's bad. Okay? So that's how we're going to test the sensor. Now, I did do this, but it didn't make any difference. So we're going to do it in the class together so you guys know how to do that, and you can see if it works or not. Maybe I did it wrong. Let's see. You guys show me if I did it wrong or right. So this has all the diagnostics, but I want to show you here. So here's the board. This plug right here, and I'll zoom in on it, is the plug for the sensor, and I'll show you where the sensor is. So if we look at this board here, the sensor's this round disc. Can you see the screws here? The sensor's this round disc, and this plug right here is the plug that we want to jump. Now, as I said, there's 4 pins, but the 2 center pins are the one that they're telling us to jump. So we're going to send a jumper right on there, and we're going to test it. If it makes ice with that jumper, but doesn't make ice without the jumper, sensor's bad. Now, what if it doesn't produce ice, but you've jumped it out and it doesn't make any difference with the unit?
Sensor's probably fine.
The sensor's probably good, and the board itself is probably bad. Now, I'm going to show you what I did, is that this ice maker wasn't making any ice, but I couldn't get the compressor and all the systems to run because I assumed the sensor of the board was bad. So we disconnected a plug from the board and we jumped it out. That got the motor, the circulation pump, not the circulation pump, the motor, the auger motor. It got the water valve, well, not the water valve, the compressor and the condenser fan. Those are the 3 main parts. So I'm getting the 2 ice machines mixed up. So we have the auger motor, which is spinning the auger. And then we have the refrigeration system, which is just a condenser fan and a compressor. Everything else is mechanically controlled. So that's our board. We have a little transformer here feeding our board and our LEDs. This right here is what? What is this?
Pressure tube?
It's a safety switch. I don't think our model has that. Let me see something. Pump switch, pump model only. So this is for drain. There's 2 ways ice machines can drain. One, they gravity drain. Like you put a hole out the wall of the house, or you go to a floor drain in the home. But if you're in like the middle of a room like this wall here, there's not an outside thing. We can have a box called a condensate box that'll drain into, and it has a float. Once it fills up enough water, that motor comes out and pumps the water out. So what they did is they put a safety switch in there. Whirlpool has the same thing with their ice machine, that if that box fills with water, and let's just say it was old, dirty, or the pump's not pumping out, once it fills high enough, one switch will strike when it wants to pump out. If that doesn't work and it keeps going, filling with water, it hits a second switch, will shut the whole machine off. And so that's what they're talking about here with the safety switch, is that if the pump fills up with water and that pump fails to get rid of that water, we're going to overflow onto the ground. So there's a safety switch in there that'll shut the whole machine down. Okay? So that's that one. So here's a close-up of that plug for the ice sensor. Power to the controller to operate the unit. Power to the controller. The water has to be sensed in the machine, and it calls for ice. With the power on, the ice making light on, check the sensor connector. If secure and unit operating, remove the connector and jump the 2 middle pins at J9. Okay, I didn't do that. The other instructions didn't say remove it and actually jump the pins on the board. So here, there's going to be 4 pins there when I unplug it, and we're just going to put a jumper on those 2 pins. Maybe if that connector's connected with that 3rd terminal, it will not run. So now I'm going to disconnect it and just jump those 2 pins and see if that gets the ice machine to run. If so, then I know that all I have to change is this sensor right here, or we have this board right there. Okay? So here's a top view. This here is the container where our water comes in, and we're going to look at it. Our evaporator is underneath here. We took this cover off, and that's what you see there. That's the insulation around the outside of the evaporator. And you're going to need terminals on there. You can't just strip wires. Okay, so on this particular unit here, this is the evaporator, and you see these little holes right there? The ice is going to get pushed out of these little tiny holes so that it makes scraped ice, but it makes little packs of scraped ice, like little clumps of it. And now this top piece here is designed to spin around and push it out. Now we're going to look at this ice maker. This ice maker is filthy, so we need to clean it out. Whenever you do a job, you're going to do a repair to a customer, you can tell them, listen, this unit's really, really dirty. I mean, I can fix it and get it running, but for an extra fee, I can run some cleaner and take it completely apart, clean it, and you could tell the customer that it charge a little bit more to do the cleaning. You're already there. Yeah. Why not up your game 40, 50, 60 bucks while you're doing the repair job to clean the unit out? A lot of people say, well, how much is the customer going to pay to fix an ice machine? This machine is called a commercial machine. I haven't looked up the price, but the cheapest ice machine, like our Whirlpool one here, that's $1,200, $1,300. Okay? So people are going to fix these because they don't want to spend another $1,000, $2,000 or $3,000 for this. I don't know how much this one is, but it's probably more expensive than the other one. So that's our evaporator. This is the motor right here, and the gearbox is underneath. It's hard to see. It's just a dark black box that goes from this motor to there. Now if we look here, this is what the auger looks like inside the evaporator. They have bearings on the top and the bottom, and those bearings have to be exact. If those bearings wear out, that auger will rub up against the walls and cause a problem and probably not make ice. So we have to have this auger repaired or replaced if that happens. And then you can pull the entire evaporator assembly out. If you had a refrigerant problem, you need to change the evaporator. But these things do not fail that often as far as the evaporator. Could we have a sealed system problem? Yes. We could have bad compressor. We could have a freon leak. We could have a restriction just like anything else. But that is how that unit works. So if we look here, they're just going through the steps of what it takes to remove the evaporator. Here you can see a better image. This is the motor. This is the gearbox. And that's the evaporator right there. Okay? I'm just pointing these things out so we go look at the unit. So here, rotating half of water seal. So there's 2 seals. This one on the bottom, and this seal sometimes has got a spring. So when you install this, this goes on top of that. Now what they do is they use like a piece of graphite in here, And then sometimes they have a piece of stainless steel here, so that the stainless steel rotates on that seal here. And when it does, the bottom one has a spring, so when you install the auger, this piece here, it pushes down on the lower spring, and that pressure keeps water from leaking. And you say, yeah, but it's not a seal, water will leak. Not if it has the pressure and the gasket's popping up, because the water in there is not under pressure. Water's gravity fed, so it don't have to be like water or airtight just to prevent it from leaking out. So if the unit's leaking water, one of the problems you have to worry about is that is between the evaporator and the gearbox, and if that seal is leaking, it will leak water into your gearbox, and now we have water mixed with the gears, and that could cause a problem. Water mixed with gears can cause rust. It causes the oil to break down, and then it can cause a problem with the gears in the future as well. So if you have a water leak on that evaporator, it's a big job, okay? That transmission and that auger, if you had to replace them, I would probably say almost as much as a brand new ice machine. Just so you know, I temporarily ordered the ice maker and the sensor because our unit was not running. And let's go back to this picture here. So I ordered this piece and this piece. How much do you think that little sensor would be? And I'm going to look it up just to show you what that sensor is.
Hey, this is it. Avioso.
So if you guys look at it, that's the sensor. Look at the price of that sensor.
For
Is that Mexican pesos?
Ocho.
Hey, you can get a deal here. You can get it for $450 instead of $700. Now, I haven't even looked up the price of the board, but remember, those of you guys that service ice machines, they're expensive machines, and a customer will pay to fix these, even commercial ones.
Yeah.
This is a very good. I know one guy that just does ice machine cleaning, but the problem is, you do ice machine cleaning, and the customer says, yeah, but I have a problem, it's not making ice. You got to know how to fix it.
Got to know how to fix it.
You can't just say, well, no, ma'am, I just clean them. You know what I mean? Well, she can find a service technician that also cleans and fixes it when it breaks. And if you're just a cleaner, sometimes you might not know what the, what the parts are. You could probably damage a part not being familiar with the product, okay? So that's the sensor. We're going to try to jump that out today, but I want to show you some of the things we did. But first we're going to look at the other ice maker, which is just an ice machine. So come on, let's go out in the other room here for a sec.
Sorry, I was fiddling with the funny thing. Richard, by the way, I didn't even make one. You have snap-on piss leads.
I didn't tell you to make it.
I know.
You just took it upon
You
yourself.
had me make them before, so I made it this time. Or I was gonna.
Let's see here. Can I set this thing right here?
I can hold it if anything too, if you want.
Yeah, that looks good, right?
Yeah, that scares me though. This right here, where it's on the edge.
You stand right here. Make sure no one knocks it down.
Here, so the test leads.
Wait a minute. We'll do that.
Yes, sir.
That's on the other ice maker. So this is the first one I was telling you. This one here has a crescent moon ice maker, but I want you guys to see a couple of things. First of all,
Oh, it's making good ice.
it's making ice.
Yeah, it's good ice.
Now, one thing I can say is both of these are customers for my company. These are customer units. And most technicians did not diagnose them properly. The first technician replaced this ice maker because it wasn't making ice. So after checking it out, the nylon hose down here, Manuel, can you see if the camera is looking here at this? So just grab the whole thing and just.
I got
tilt
you. It's holding it.
So this nylon hose was cracked, and this is the one that fills the ice maker. This is the same ice maker you have in your house.
Okay.
So the fact that I took the bucket out this ice maker would start on its own. So on these ice makers, this is a standard gear-driven ice maker, right? A thermostat inside here about 18 degrees sends power to a heater on the bottom of the unit and the motor. But the thing is, right underneath here is the evaporator. It's actually sitting right on the evaporator, so it freezes ice. But we do have a problem. You guys see all this ice on the walls? That is, this door gasket is not sealing properly, and we're getting warm air in here. Warm air could prevent the ice maker from cycling because it's 18 degrees. If we get too much warm air in there, and this thing maintains 20 to 25 degrees, we still will have ice inside, but we're going to have all this frost build up all around the unit because warm air is coming in with humidity, and that's evidence of humidity in there. So to get this ice maker to run, you just apply pressure on these fingers. Now there's another ice maker that looks like this that has a gray plastic and it has holes that you use a jumper. This one here, if I just apply pressure on it, this is the actual motor. This is going to the fingers that push the ice out. So as I apply pressure on it, once it rotates a certain distance, a switch inside will close and it'll start running on its own. I need to probably go just a little bit farther more, and then it should start running on its own. But there's a problem there. Doing that, if there's ice in the ice maker mold, okay, the ice won't come out because by me forcing it, the thermostat inside won't close. Because when the thermostat closes, it tells this motor to run, but also puts a heater on underneath the evaporator so that the ice can get loose and it can drop the ice in the bucket. If the heater don't come on, the finger's gonna keep hitting the ice till it can loosen up. Now I felt, and I didn't feel water in here. So let's listen and see if we hear water come in. Because the water's disconnected.
Oh, okay.
The water's disconnected. So we stole the water from this one to get the other ice maker running. So this thing had no water in it. But when I get to about this point, right about here, these fingers are on the other side, it'll call for fresh water. And just like in your regular ice maker in your house, you can just raise this arm and that shuts it off. And that's what that bucket is. When the bucket fills up, every time it goes to drop ice, the arm will go up, the ice will fall into the bucket. If the bucket's full, the ice will hit the top of the arm will hit the top of the ice and won't drop all the way flat. And the ice maker will not run until the customer starts taking ice out and then the arm falls flat like that. And then the ice maker will go on its own. Yes?
Question. I know in refrigerators it happens the same thing. If it reaches to a certain point where it just keeps dropping ice and then it just stalls the ice and they're hitting, does it mean that it stops making everything correctly at that point?
Well, if it's hitting the ice, it's waiting for the heater to loosen up. And if the thermostat in there didn't close, it won't loosen it.
So it just stays the same.
Yeah, but it will not initiate that cycle if the thermostat didn't close. I manually initiated, and after the arms get a certain distance, there's a mechanical switch, like a microwave door switch, these little tiny switches, that inside of here is a cam. Let's get a Phillips and open this up, take a look at it. Unplug it for me.
Cuando se hace cachita así, le está entrando aire, no tiene nada, vamos a un poco claro. Ya.
So if we look at this, I'm going to go ahead and just take this cover off. Now on the other one that has the jumper, it says on the gear, do not manually rotate, because technicians like me that have been doing this for a while, we're used to forcing this ice maker to start its cycle. And then guys go to the newer ice maker where this part looks the same and there's a cover on it, but instead of a metal plate, it has like a plastic plate. And we have little holes in there that we can use a jumper wire to make the motor run, to turn the heater on, or even call for water. And you guys have that in your jump drive as far as how that one works. So I'm just going to take this one off and show you a little bit inside. So there's 3 switches inside of this ice maker, a motor, and a cam. So I'll point out a couple of these things to you on this unit. Let me just get these 3 screws off. Now this ice maker's new. When the technician had to
Good, so
The bit went underneath there, underneath the cart.
screw.
By your feet. No, no, the other way. That's okay. No, it was a
Isn't
bit. It was a Phillips bit, not the screw. There. Just leave that. That's fine. Okay, so this screw right here. What do you guys think this screw is? Take a look at it. It says plus minus.
Temperature.
We don't have temperature control. Temperature control is automatic in this box. We
Oh,
don't
so
have an
it's not.
adjustment of temperature at all on this unit. We do have a switch here. It's like a thermostat, but it's only to control the temperature. We don't really need to mess with this as a customer. It's sort of hidden behind the controls.
The capacity of what ice comes out, maybe?
Oh,
That-
the speed.
That is for the water level in the ice machine. If a customer complains that the ice cubes are a little too small, you back it off to the plus. It does not make a big difference. Like if your water's too low, your water valve could be bad. Okay? But there are adjustments on here. If it's just a little bit smaller and they want it a little bit bigger or too big, you can make it a little bit smaller. You can adjust that. So this is connected to a switch, which is the water valve. Let me pull this off. So these switches are here, and there's two switches, one here and one here. This one at the top is controlled to your shutoff arm, and when it's up like that, the ice maker is shut off and not making any ice. Okay? This one is connected to your screw adjustment, and what it does is this little plastic piece is called a cam, and when the cam hits that button, that's when the water valve is calling for water. Okay? By you moving a little bit farther away from the cam means for a few like tenths of a second longer, it's sending power to the water valve, and that's how it's making more or less water in the machine. Now this one is called a hold switch, and what happens is, it's a little hard to see in here, the thermostat is located right behind these wires right here, and it's up against the mold. We'd have to take these screws off here and take the black part off to see the mold, and you can see the thermostat would be right up against the mold, sensing this mold here. This is what we call mold, is where the water's going in and the actual cubes are being made. So that thermostat closes and turns on the heater. But what is the heater going to do to the thermostat? It's going to open it up. So the thermostat at 18 degrees or colder will close, initiate the cycle, but as the motor's running, the heater's on at the same time. So the heater's going to cause that thermostat to open. We don't want the motor to run. So remember I said I moved those fingers, and after a few seconds the switch is going to activate. That switch will take over after the thermostat opens. Okay? And again, you guys can see right there that little notch on the cam, and once it hits that little notch, that's when it stops running. Okay, so this one tells the water valve to come in, this one tells the machine stop. Now we're in ice freezing cycle. Okay, when we put this on, you see there's a flat spot here. You can see this piece here. This is the fingers that push the ice out. So we have to align the flat spot up when we put the cover back on. Also, you notice my spring pops. So this spring just goes right in there. So it gives a spring load. And that pin has to go in that little hole when we put this cover back on. So we have to line up this plastic and that pin, and we have to make sure that none of our wires bind up or anything in there. Yes, sir.
What would happen if the flat side of the cam that you were talking about, would they
Are you
line up
talking about
together?
this or this?
No, I'm talking about this with this. If that's unlined,
You
what would
cannot
happen?
close
You
it.
cannot. Okay.
It's like if I wanted to do this right here and push it in, I can't push it in. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my fingers and I'm turning those fingers. Oh, I lined it up. Now I go in. But now I have to take this piece and I have to line up this piece with the hole. Now I can screw it together. So I have to line up the pin here, and I have to line up that cam, and then I can put my 3 screws in.
Understood.
Not right now. Any other questions on this? Oh, I forgot to say. So the technician replaced this. There's a gray thermal paste that you put on the bottom of the ice maker so it makes direct contact to here. anybody who's ever worked on computers, if you change the main chip of your computer, it has a fan on top of it. And they get this gray, they call it dielectric paste. And that paste has like metal inside of it. It's like gray paste, but with metallic. So that when they put the computer chip, they cover the top of the chip with this gray paste, and they put the fan, the heat sink with the fan on top, and the gray paste gives it more conductivity. So if it's just metal, and the metal's slightly warped, we're going to lose temperature here, like to remove heat from the processor. So the gray paste goes in, and it has to be liberally put on, not skimpily. Put it on so that when you put this piece on and mush it tight, it adds to the conduction of temperature and makes the ice machine work properly. If you replace this ice maker and don't put that gray paste in there, it's going to cause it not to work right. Okay? This ice maker, when you order for this unit, will come with the thermal paste. Right? So again, this is nothing fancy. This is just a freezer with an ice maker in it, just like you would have in your home refrigerator. So I didn't want to spend a great big deal on it. The one I really wanted to talk about was this flaker in here. So come over here and let's take a look at this flaker. Can you adjust the camera?
Yeah, I got you, big dog.
Now, we're going to have to set this thing on the ground, so I need some people to set it down. Because I need you guys to see up there.
You want to take it down? Take it down.
We have two people that can carry it down. Try to hold it level because it's got water inside. It's plugged in these, so watch your hand in there, okay? Make sure that there's nothing there you're going to touch. Okay? So,
Let's just wrap
now
around.
I'll edit this part out of the
The same way
video.
I'm holding it, you hold it.
Here's your knees, guys.
Careful the water line behind you.
Yeah, just go straight down. Okay, we're going to make a mess on the floor. Okay, can you hold the camera for a minute?
Yeah, I got you.
All right. Oh, it's unplugged anyways. Good. So we'll plug this in a minute. Can you grab that extension cord?
Pick them up, pick them up.
All right, so let's visualize this thing first, and just leave it right here. Thank you. Just leave it on the top. That's good. So here's the ice machine. This is the type of ice that we make. It's little nuggets of ice.
Well, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Okay, so it makes these little nuggets of ice. Okay, it's like flaked ice. And I'm gonna run it so you guys can see the whole thing in operation. So, right here, if you take a look, there's a jumper. The black wire here, there's two of them, is power coming in. One of these is going to the auger motor that's pushing the auger, and these other two are going to my compressor and my condenser fan. And the reason why you see this wire jumped on it was because it was not running. And what I did is I ran this, and we'll take a look at the diagram. I ran this way to see, one, is the compressor and condenser fan working? Is the auger motor working? And it actually produced ice. The problem was this thing I left overnight, and you opened up the door and ice was just falling out the door because since the control board wasn't hooked up, we overfilled this unit. So we take a look. I'm going to reconnect this back to the board without the jumper on it. But let's point these parts out. Right here is the sonar detector right here. And I'm going to open up the door. Can you get the other side of it?
Yeah.
So if we look up underneath here, this piece, oh wait, it's loose right here. We can pull it right out. I'm sorry, I didn't know it was loose.
Okay.
So this piece right here sends an ultrasonic sound. And it's just like radar or sonar, you know, that it sends a sound, it bounces off the ice and comes back. If the ice is empty or it's full, how long it takes for that sound to come back is how long it takes for this thing to cycle. Now I don't know why this was loose. These are screws here, but it wasn't screwed down. Look at that. Their screw just fell right out. Now, I don't know who did this. This is the first time I'm seeing this. And it seemed like to me, you know what? The plastic is cracked. The housing.
Yeah, because it looks like cracked plastic on the actual sonar itself.
Yes. Well, no, it's actually the plastic is cracked on the base,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's what holds it.
But
so
if you
this,
look here, those cylinders are meant to be on here.
Yeah. So this piece sits down in here, and it shoots down on top of the ice in the bin. Can you see the ice in the front? It shoots down on the ice, and it bounces back to this sensor, and that's how it knows if it's full or not. Okay? So if we come back up here, let's identify these components in this unit. This is our water supply. I have no electricity connected right here. Look, it's unplugged. If you look here at the float, when I push the float down, it fills up with water. Now it's going to flow out the drain onto the floor here. But this float is to make sure that we always have water in this container. There's no water valve that gets power like that other machine. So if you look here, this is the sensor. Now there's a cover that goes over it. I have it off right now. This sensor sets in the water, and as the water touches the tube, the water will allow a small low voltage to pass through, and that's how the board knows if there's water in the machine or not. Now if you look, there's two little plastic pieces and a screw, so these plastic pieces go over the cover of the box like that, and they sit right here, and a screw will hold it in place right there. Okay, now if you look at this gray hose here on the bottom of this container, it runs over here into what we call the evaporator. Now I'm going to go ahead and unscrew some of these pieces, and then I'll put it together and tell you how they work. So here's our evaporator right here. Inside the evaporator is that corkscrew, that auger that's pushing the ice out. The evaporator is on the outside, and the auger is just rubbing against the wall and spiraling and pushing the ice out as it goes. Okay? And it comes out these little holes, and this piece sits on top and forces that ice to fall into there. But if it just came right out, it would bunch up here and never fall in. So this piece here is screwed to the top of it, and as it rotates around, it'll take that ice and push that ice out. So I'm going to run this so you guys can look down in the holes there and see the auger spinning and see the ice coming up. It will take like a minute or so for that ice to pass. But we're going to go ahead and do this. So I plugged it in. Now, the difference between this machine and the other one we just looked at is that is a freezer. It needs to have the door shut and everything for this thing to work properly. These ice machines do not freeze the actual ice. The ice is made by the ice machine, and it falls in, and this is just like a cooler you take to the beach. You put ice in it, and if you have a good cooler like a Yeti or something, you put ice in it, lasts 3 or 4 days. This one here will last a couple of days of ice. If I left that ice in there, some of our real big machines, it took like 2 or 3 days for all that ice to melt. So this one here makes what we call wet ice. And what happens is that ice is always melting. A lot of people say, well, why melt? You just made the ice. You're going to keep making ice as it melts. It's going to run forever. They don't want the ice to sit there because people don't always use the ice. You've seen those ice machines in a hotel. They fill up like this much ice. If they're not that busy, people don't always use the ice. That ice could sit there for years and get moldy, and the ice can get odors, it can get taste. So we want that ice to constantly melt so we always have fresh ice. Now if you look in here, this thing is filthy inside, so we need to clean it all out. But what we're going to do is we're going to plug it in, and is it turned on?
Well, you have the pin plugged in, right?
I have everything plugged in right now.
Jump it again.
I removed the jumper. I'm trying to run off the board. We're going to go through the diagnostics right now.
Okay.
Is it running?
No.
Is it turned on?
Yeah.
Okay.
The light is
So
on.
the ice light is on.
Yeah.
So the ice light is telling me it's ready to make ice, but it's not making ice. So they said if it don't make ice, one of the problems could be is this sensor here. The water hose, we have water.
Oh, yeah.
And I went like this, look, the water's on. Okay? There's no electricity for this water valve like the other machine. So the water's like a toilet. You notice I got a float. When it's full, it stops. When the water gets used, it drops down. It calls for more water. But in this particular unit, this sonar tells the board, hey, I'm full of ice. But we don't know if that thing is good or bad. They don't have a way for you to put a meter on there and test it with the meter. So what they said is if the ice maker doesn't run, that we unplug this ice maker from here, or the sonar, we unplug it, and there's 4 pins in there. So what we want to do is jump the center 2 pins. So we'll just take this little wire here, and I'm going to jump the center 2. Now they said if we jump these center 2, it doesn't want to stay in there, so give me a second here to manipulate it.
Mano más pequeño. Cecilio. Ahí es que se mueve.
It doesn't want to stay in there. Give me a
Ese
second.
es small.
Chiquito.
The Cecilio end is smaller end. Así se mueve.
Got it?
Okay, so if you look at the jumper now, the jumper is jumping out the 2 center plugs, right? So let's go ahead and plug it back in. Now, if I jumped it while it was plugged in, that's low voltage, but I do have 120 on this board, so I got to be careful. That's where the power goes to the motor and stuff. So now I want to know if this machine runs. So I'm going to wait a minute and see if anything happens. And we're going to make sure again it's
The lights.
on here.
This light came on momentarily.
Time to clean, yeah, but that's just when we powered it up though. So it's not functioning.
Is that
So if it was making ice, it would start running right now and we'd see this thing turning and we'd hear the compressor and the fan running. The evaporator has no fan, it's the water on the evaporator that's being absorbed the heat. So we don't need a fan over the evaporator,
So is
but it's not running.
the board?
It's most likely a bad board. I ordered both the board and the sensor because I couldn't find in the service manual how to test that sensor. And then I found it, but I tested it by plugging my jumper on the back of these 2 wires here while it was plugged in. But the instructions said remove the plug and jump it, which is what I did right now for the first time, and it's still not working. Okay, so that most likely the board is the reason why it's not running. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to unplug it. And I went to the schematic on this, and I'm plugging this one here, which is our main board controls. If you look at this plug here, it runs to our transformer. So this is taking power in from the black and white and setting low voltage here because the LED lights are 1 voltage and the actual components on the board are another voltage. So that's why we have more than 1 wire coming off our transformer. So again, power's the black one, the motor, fan, and the auger motor are running off of here. So we just have to jump those 2 out. So I'm going to use a paper clip. It's a little bit easier than those wires right now.
You want a big one?
Huh?
You want a big paper clip?
No, but thank you. So I'm going to stick this in here. I'm going to run the black one and this one here. Now, you got to be careful because if this is in there, this is 120 volts. This is now live a voltage. We can't let it touch anything, right? So we need to shove both these in there. See if you can rig that one in there. And I'll put this one here.
We can edit the video, right?
Yeah, I'm going to edit all the video.
This is a very smart thing we're doing right now.
What?
Putting paper clips just live.
It's not plugged in.
On the blue?
Yeah.
The machine's not plugged in. Well, I want to jump the black to the blue and the black to the center also. So I'm going to jump all 3. So I'm going to take this one here, stick it in there. We could do it on this side here. Look.
Yes, I would do it in there.
The 3 cable, 3 jumper.
Well, where's the wire?
You have
Let's see. Where's the other wire I had?
It's in there.
Okay. So
Well,
we're
they said they weren't.
going to connect the sensor back, and then we're going to jump it like this. And Paul had set it up pretty nicely where he went like this, shove this down the middle here, and I'll hold it and then put the 1 wire here and 1 wire there. No, just the wire. Just that wire in the end. You give me that paper.
I'm sorry. Stop.
You introduced the idea of paper
You
clips.
did it right, though. You did it right. The middle.
And then the outside one.
Oh, the fucking middle one is fucking a bitch right now. It's coming off.
Let's just see. Leave it like that. Leave it. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let me see where. Let me see. It should.
Stay up.
Okay, so now I need to plug this
Is that
device.
last one staying in though? That's what I'm.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll run it. If it's
I
not,
trust you.
if it's not, that's the blue wire running here to the auger motor. I might have it plugged backwards. This is low voltage, bro. It ain't plugged in.
Man, I've been shocked by 240 like 3 times in the last 2 days.
I've been shot like 277.
I'm proud of you. I wouldn't want to do it again.
You know, I'm shocked by you guys getting shocked that you're smart enough that none of you should get shocked.
Yeah. I think like intelligence has nothing to do with laziness.
Okay, so let's just go back over what this jumper was. I had taken it out at the beginning and put it back in. So power's coming in, going to the board, and if you see with these 2 black relays right here on the board, one of them is the auger motor and the other one's the compressor and fan. The bigger one is most likely the compressor and a fan, and the smaller one's probably just the auger motor, because the compressor and the fan will draw more current than that auger motor. So by jumping this out, the control board itself is not controlling the ice machine. The ice machine will just run forever, and that's what happened. We let it run overnight, and this thing was packed with ice. So I connected the sensor back in, set it down in there, like that. Now, will the sensor work? It don't matter, because we're not using the control board. We're just taking and putting the wires together. So we're gonna plug it in, and immediately it's gonna turn on.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so
Yep.
you can see the auger here is turning. So I'm gonna let it run for a minute, and what I want you to see is, can you see inside those holes?
Yeah.
And can you turn the flashlight on, maybe, or you can see it?
You can see it. It's very small spinning.
And see if you can turn the light on from the camera, and you can see it, the auger inside.
Yeah, I see.
You guys can see it on the camera there. Okay, so this is gonna take a second. Compressor's running, the fan's running, water's in the evaporator, so little by little it's scraping the ice, and once it builds up enough, it's gonna start pushing out these little holes. Now the only thing we don't have is we don't have this little spreader, and as it rotates around, it's gonna push the ice into the bin. But I want you to see the ice coming out, because in a minute you're gonna see ice starting to appear on that top of the auger there. Just give it a minute. And we'll edit this too, so.
Wow, ice appeared instantly.
You see?
No, it's
No,
not there yet.
I was making a joke about the editing for the video.
Yeah, like we turn it on, all of a sudden ice is coming out. Look how fast it made ice. So let's just give it a minute. So this thing holding this bin, normally on another ice machine, you would think it has the sensor that tells it when it's full to stop making the ice. No, this piece here is what's telling it to stop making the ice, which is the sonar. This piece right here is what's telling it to stop making ice. But because we bypassed the board, it has nothing to do with that piece, right?
Okay.
So I have these pieces on order, and hopefully it's just the board. We're going to just change the board first and see if it gets it up and running. I could return that part for credit and not be charged for it. Hold on a second.
Yeah, sir.
Hold on a second. Let me see something for a second. The compressor's not running. Our jumpers are not working. Let's unplug it. Check it. I think the center one's not making connection.
See right there.
Yeah, the blue one's the auger. I don't think the center one's in there properly.
Go for it, big dog. I believe in you.
I'm unplugged, so don't worry about it. No, it's
It's that one. It's not making connect.
it's the center one
so
that's not
thick.
making connection, and that's the compressor. Hold with your thumb, yeah, and then push them in.
We're learning a lot more than electronics today.
We're learning how to rig
Yeah.
shit up.
Oh, that's not what I was thinking.
Fuck, that came out again here.
What are you thinking?
You better edit your video trying to get these big
God
things into
damn.
small holes.
Yeah, it's not long enough. It's gotta do the wire again.
Do the work.
You gotta strip it. You gotta open it up more.
Let me see.
You gotta redo it.
Yeah, it's gotta extend. Do the squish.
Nah, you got
Too much.
you know. Richard's an expert at this, man. Let me see. I don't want to fix, like, my brain wants to fix those wires.
I don't know how Paul got them in the back, but let's just see something here.
We got a skill.
One.
Right? That's how the video, right?
Paul's an expert at
that's how the
getting
video, right?
things in holes, I'll tell you, man.
That's how the video.
Be careful. Be careful.
Yeah, it's gonna be edited. It's gonna be edited.
Okay, so let's see. I didn't hear the compressor come on that time. Let's see if we get it right again. Now the auger's not running, so we ain't carrying power from the back. This one's out.
Yeah, you gotta extend it.
Let me try.
Watch the
It's my turn.
We're gonna do it my way here with the paper clips.
Manny wants to take his turn.
No, hold on. We're gonna use these paper clips. This is gonna work. I don't have time for this.
Yeah, it doesn't have time for that. Anybody got time for that?
The only bad thing about this, and if we get it on camera, is that this is not insulated, and if it touches anything, we're gonna short something out. This is 120 volts.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, let's just see.
It's going toward that way.
No, it's gonna
Do
stop.
you want to get some
3,
electrical tape at least?
2, 1, stop.
Do you want to get some
Yeah,
electrical
they said
tape just for safety?
It ain't going to where it's done.
Okay.
All right, so now let's hear if we hear the compressor cycle.
There you go. I just turn up.
No, compressor just turned on.
Compressor and fans running.
Yep.
So now we should see ice up here. Otherwise, we're not gonna be careful. Don't touch any of that.
Spinning.
So this will take a minute for it to push the ice up, and the refrigeration system to get the evaporator cold enough for the ice to appear on the walls. Okay. I'll tell you when you see the ice there. Now the complaint was it wasn't making ice. Now there was a piece here, and I have to check this piece out, how this piece connects. This piece here somehow went there for the float.
Like a bathroom.
But exactly.
like.
But I
Yeah,
don't.
it's
I don't
it's
know
the same
how.
concept.
I don't know how this piece is connected to the float. That's. I don't. I think it was jammed up. No water was coming in. There you go, like that. So it goes like this. The float can't drop down there with that piece like that. So my question is it if we rotate it, does it allow the piece to drop down? Okay, I'm not in there. I haven't even looked at this yet, but this piece, I think there's a hole there in the bottom and a hole on the top here. It's supposed to be like that, and then this piece here will block it. I don't see how it allows this float to drop down. Okay,
You turned it.
I think it goes like that, and then if you turn it the other way, it keeps the flow up so that it doesn't call for water. But in order to get to that, you have to take this whole cover off, okay? So let's let that run for a minute. Is ice starting to form up there yet?
Nope.
Now here, if we look, this plug right there is the plug that we took off. This is our fan motor, our auger motor, and our compressor, and they're all running off that plug. So this is power coming in to the plug, which is the black wire. The other power wire connected to it is going to a transformer, which you can see the black wire going to transformer there. So by jumping all three of them together, we're getting these three parts to run, and that's what's happening right now. So I'm just going to put this paper right underneath this plug like this, so it doesn't touch metal. But you can grab it if you want.
Really?
It might straighten your hair and make it look nice.
You need to get him
Careful,
back
don't
for
hit
what he did to you.
Oh my god, that would have been the perfect revenge.
It-
Manny, can you hold this really quick?
He shot the shit out of Ricky one day.
Okay, we're recording.
I didn't. Well, it's gonna be. We have to do the magic where we skip to when it has ice.
You're alive.
I can delete the audio and still play the video.
Just loop the same.
So I can pull this off temporarily so you can see in there a little bit better if you
Oh
want.
yeah, it does help a little bit with some of the visual clarity.
So we're waiting for us to see the ice come up. So give it a minute. We see something? Okay, I feel it cooling. So it is functioning. I can see ice right there. It's water or ice right there.
Might be water.
Give it a minute. It takes a minute. Once it gets started, the ice is constantly flowing. But since we first fired it up, the evaporator wasn't cold, the water wasn't cold. Once that thing gets to temperature, it's going to start pushing the ice out, and then it's going to run like no tomorrow. So I'm just waiting for the ice to come up to the evaporator. Now these little holes are actually part of the ice production, because if you look at these cubes,
Oh, ice.
they're little cylinders.
Ice is coming.
You see it?
Yep. Yippee!
I just gonna be wrong.
Oh, fun. Now we gotta cut that out of the video.
Well, I'm gonna put the yippee.
Yippee!
So give it a minute. No, the ice is not there yet.
It's on its way. It's on its way.
I can see it in some of the holes.
Yeah.
It's slowly starting to push up. I'm gonna go ahead and put this here now so that it falls this way back into the bin, so you guys can see it come out. Now the one thing, again, I don't have this spreader on top of it right now.
There it is.
So now you can start to see the ice coming out, and it'll fall into this reservoir and then fall down into the bin. So if you can see the ice is coming out, and just for the heck of it, I'm not even gonna have to tighten the screw because it's turned the same direction that it takes to tighten the screw. I'll just hold it, and it'll thread it down. Now we would tighten with our hand once it's off, but I'm just... So now this piece spins around, and as the ice comes out, it's going to push the ice into the bin. Now give it a minute because it's still producing the ice up. So again, the walls, the ice are freezing on the walls, and that auger's scraping it off the walls and pushing it up so it comes out here. And as you can see, like this cube right here, it's like a little snake kind of thing. So these fingers, you can see how they're rotating, and they're going to push the ice into the bin as enough ice gets up there.
The first few drops.
Now, the only thing that turns this off is you, the customer, turn it off, or the sonar telling it that the unit is filled with ice and it's not to produce ice anymore. It's seems pretty simple, right? Now, the refrigeration system in here is just like a refrigerator. It's got an evaporator, compressor, and condenser and fan on the bottom, and you would service it just like any other refrigeration system. Any questions on how this thing operates? Okay, so we had the video on the Whirlpool KitchenAid ice machine. Here's the flaker. This is a regular ice machine, ice freezer with an ice maker in it. Now the only thing that we don't have is maybe next week I'll go over the Scotsman ice machine and show you how the Scotsman ice maker works. Okay? And that'll be pretty much all the residential ice makers that you'll find in customers' homes. But if you don't have any other questions, that's it for now.